Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles. I am Donnie, your host, and with me is a man that says he doubts that whiskey is the answer, but it's worth a shot. It's Dale.
I don't know about all that. Unless it's Fireball or something. Damn, if it's brown liquor, I can't do it. Wild Turkey broke me from that years ago.
Yeah, I can't handle that hard stuff, man.
I don't mind some liquor, but if it's hard to... I ain't down with the brown.
Down with the brown. Absolutely, man.
How's you going, man?
I'm good, bud. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome. I'm awesome.
Awesome on this recording day. You got any shout-outs or anything for us?
Yeah, man, we got a couple. We'd like to give a shout-out to Funky CJ96. That is Funky with an N.
Funky.
Yeah, we got a five-star review from him. Said a couple of good old boys doing the podcasting game right. Ain't nothing but love from Boone, North Carolina, so we ain't got nothing but love for you, brother. We appreciate the 5-star.
We appreciate the mountain love.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
And we'd like to give a shout out to Deborah Dingus for thanks for the love today on her post from International Podcast Day.
Yeah, we were recording on International Podcast Day.
Ain't that cool?
Oh yeah.
And also, I was going to say email and lie about it, but really it was a message today from a friend of the show, Rich Adams. And he just sent this, and I'm just going to read it to you. It says, hey, bud, in the midst of listening to Jacob Wetterling episode, you guys did a pretty good job. But he was born in Long Prairie, not Long Falls. So we like to give that correction. And it's basically it's easy to mix up, though. Second, he was killed like 30 miles away from where he was kidnapped. I'm kind of I ain't reading his word for word. Killed back 30 miles away from where he was kidnapped. So the guy using the Bobcat wouldn't be that big a deal, as it's a very, very rural area surrounded by farms and farmers. So a lot of guys are working around the clock getting ready for the winter. And Rich says he just lives about 10 miles away from where he was kidnapped and about 20 miles away from where he was killed. So, man, we really appreciate that insight, and thanks a lot for doing that. And
yeah.
And I just thought that was cool that you dropped us in there and then give us some information on that, and we really appreciate that.
We love when we get these messages and emails from people that have firsthand knowledge of some of these cases we cover.
Yeah, he's worried. He's like, I'm sorry, I ain't trying to bust your balls. Like, no, man, we love it.
Yeah, because I mean, we get this stuff, we research and look up stuff online, but some of that stuff can get misreported and twisted and turned around, and
if you're there, you know.
Oh yeah,
so that's really cool.
Absolutely. So yeah, Rich, we appreciate it, bud.
Yes, sir. Thank you much.
Yep. All right, Dale, you got anything else for us?
And with that, I'll just give it over to you to put on the big T-shirt hammer.
All right, this is the T-shirt. This is the T-shirt hammer. Order your T-shirt.
Hey, I ordered me one today.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Got me a long sleeve black Danzig rip-off shirt coming. And they bought me some stickers.
Yeah, go to the website, go to the store page, and order you something. Also, go to Apple Podcast or any other podcast platform that you listen to, if they allow it. Give us a rating review. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Heck yeah.
We really do. All right, bud. We are going to get into this week's episode.
Well, let's do it.
Yep. And before we get started, this has a little bit of a North Carolina connection.
Yeah, a little bit.
It actually has a few North Carolina connections that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm just surprised.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We like things that happen here in North Carolina, but it doesn't really take place here, but it does have a North Carolina connection.
Yeah, well, part of it does.
Yep. But anyway, this is the Bishop family murders.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. And just a little bit of backstory. Our main guy that we're talking about, his name is William Bradford Bishop Jr.
Bradford.
Yep, he goes by Bradford or Brad. And he was born on August the 1st, 1936 in Pasadena, California. And his parents were Lobelia and William Bradford Bishop Sr.
Wow.
And I think from an early age, his mama really doted on him pretty good. She got him in, I think, a private elementary school.
Mm-hmm. Well, his daddy was an old man.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess they went through different times, but sometimes he was really, really rich and sometimes not so much. So.
Yeah.
But they were all high society.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what she loved. She was always in the society page and
wrote for the paper, I think. Wrote a column for the paper, I think is what she did. Right. Yeah. But so, she loved the high society. They loved the fame part of it and just being the upper crust.
Yes.
citizens.
And he was a only child, so he was getting.
Yeah, he was spoiled. I'd imagine so.
Yeah,
from a very early age. But now, Bradford Bishop, he attended South Pasadena High School.
Yeah, he was a quarterback.
Played football.
Yeah,
and actually pretty good from what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
He was an athlete. I think he played some tennis, and he liked to work out. He enjoy hiking and
all the outdoor stuff.
Yeah, doing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to college at Yale.
Yeah, he really wanted to go to Southern Cal, so that way he'd still be there and could go to the beach all the time. Because, like, his mom used to pick up him and his friends at the private school and take him to the beach during the day and stuff like that. And so he was like, well, if I can go to Southern Cal, I'll still hang out with all my friends. And he was dating one of the cheerleaders, so everything kind of be the same, but he'd still go to college. But he got accepted at Yale, and his mom really wanted him to go to Yale because that made her look good.
Oh yeah, because I mean they put out the upper crust people.
Who puts down the bottom crust?
I don't know. The pizza people.
Yeah, I guess. Good answer.
But anyway, at Yale, he went there for I think 3 years. Then he quit, or he took a year off because I think his dad had some financial problems.
Yeah, that was one of the years that the oil business was down, apparently. Or at least his wells.
And he got a job, I think, digging ditches or working for the city or something, digging trenches.
Yep.
Yeah. But he went back to Yale, and he did end up graduating.
Yeah, he saved up his money working digging ditches all year.
But he even tried while he was at Yale to join the football team.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too good.
No, they already had their players picked, they told him.
Yeah.
Which he thought was kind of shitty because he's like, well, can't even go out for the team. You always got them picked. So, yeah, he didn't. He was pretty devastated by that.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually a good football player.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even give him a chance at it.
Played some intramural ball, but that ain't the same as being on the team.
No. He was in a newspaper club or a newspaper publication, too.
Yeah.
And I think he was a contributor for that, but I think he told his mom that he was
part of the staff.
Yeah, on the staff.
Yeah, I think he contributed, like, what they say, twice in 5 years or something, or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But it still counts, I guess.
I'm on the staff, but I've only been in there twice. Okay. But he did receive a bachelor's degree in history from Yale University, and he went on to get his Master of Arts degree in international studies from Middlebury College. And Bishop had been reported to get a bachelor's degree in American Studies from Yale and another master's degree in Italian from Middlebury College. So he was a highly educated man.
Yeah, he's racking them up, isn't he?
Yeah. And his way of thinking was to get these degrees and get his education where he can make better and make more money than everybody else.
Right.
That was his goal, to be an upper class citizen.
Yes.
Yeah. And he also got a master's degree in African Studies from UCLA. So he was very, very educated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he graduated from Yale in 1959, and he married his high school sweetheart, Annette Weiss. And Dale, they had 3 sons together.
Right.
Now, he did join the United States Army after they got married.
Yeah, I don't think he had a lot of choice, did he? I don't know if he had a whole lot of choice there. I think that's basically when they still had the draft and all this stuff back then.
Yeah, and I think even college students, they weren't exempt from the draft.
Right. After college, you got to go.
Yeah, but he did join the United States Army, and he spent 4 years working in counterintelligence.
Yep.
And he was able to speak 5 languages, Dale.
Crazy.
Yep. He was fluent in 5 languages: English, Italian, French, Serbo-Croatian, and Spanish.
Right. Yeah, I think that was one of his first jobs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Doing surveillance on Serbia or Yugoslavia, I think it was.
Yeah. Now, after leaving the Army, Bishop joined the U.S. State Department and served in the Foreign Service in many postings overseas.
Well, that would, knowing all them languages is definitely going to help you there.
Yeah, and this included postings in cities of Verona, Milan, and Florence. And this is where he done his postgraduate work at the University of Florence in Italy.
Well, he loved there.
Yeah, and this was from 1968 to 1972. And he also served in Africa, including posts in Addis Ababa and in Ethiopia and in Botswana.
Ooh.
From 1972 to 1974.
Yeah, I think there he was even like serving some kind of like a ambassador, or he was under an ambassador, like I guess. What? Even when he was doing the ambassador job, when the ambassador wasn't there, whatever you call that, the junior ambassador,
assistant ambassador.
Yeah, there you go.
The AA.
Something like that, because I think he really wanted to be an ambassador somewhere, but I don't think Africa was where he wanted to be.
Yep. Now, Bishop's last posting, which began in 1974, was at the State Department headquarters in Washington, D.C., and he was the assistant chief in the Division of Special Activities and Commercial Treaties. That's a heck of a title.
Heck yeah.
And he was living with his family there in Bethesda, Maryland. And he was living with his wife and 3 sons and his mother, Lobelia, because Bradford's dad had passed away.
Yeah. And a little bit before all this got going, there was times where he went back for a high school reunion and stuff. And then, he was having a good time. And then he got to talking to some of his old buddies about what they were making. And they were making more money than him.
Yeah.
And he couldn't believe it. So he's like, what the hell? So he kept asking people. And all of them were making $5,000 to $10,000 more a year than he was. And I think he was making about $21,000 a year, which today would be like $120,000.
Yeah, this was in 1974.
And then they had all this stuff and making all this money, and he just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
He felt like he was above all them with all his education and working basically as a spy and a diplomat and all this stuff for the government. But so after his dad passed away and his mom she wanted to live with him because she didn't want to be by herself. She footed a lot of the bills for them to help them look like they had more than they had to make.
I think his dad had a pretty good inheritance.
Yeah,
or left him an inheritance.
Or it was his mom's. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She ended up putting $30,000 on a home there in Bethesda.
Yeah, you're right. That's the only way they could get it.
Yeah, and this was a prestigious neighborhood. I mean, you just can't just live in this neighborhood. You have to have money to live there. And this is what Bishop liked. He liked being in high society and better than everybody else.
Right.
Yep. And he didn't like anybody having more than him.
No. Even when he playing games as far as ping pong and tennis or anything else, he was always had to win and then berate whoever he beat over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was always that guy.
Mm-hmm. And I think anybody that was his enemy or anybody like that, he even said he wanted to put them in their place.
Yeah.
So he was very, very arrogant, very narcissistic.
Right. If he wasn't the best, it wasn't good enough.
Exactly. So we're just giving you that a little bit about Bradford Bishop, about how he was and his mindset going into all this.
And in the place where he worked, everything was really promotion based, and if you were there so long and you didn't get the promotion, and whenever the cycle comes through, it was basically like you wasn't good enough and you basically was out, or it looked bad to your coworkers. They knew, stuff. So there's a lot of pressure on him too.
Yep.
To try to get to where he was going.
But he was in Washington State Department, and he had a desk job, and I don't think he liked that too good.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah, he didn't really like being in the States. He wanted to be probably back in Italy. I think that was his most favorite place.
He wanted to be abroad somewhere and traveling.
Skiing and tennising.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Dale, we're going to jump to March the 1st, 1976.
All right.
Now, this is where Bradford had learned that he wasn't going to get a promotion at work.
Yeah.
It had been posted, and he didn't get that promotion. So he was out of that cycle.
Yeah, he was pretty irate about it.
Yeah, he was.
Even though there's rumors that he knew about 2 weeks before the paper come out that he wasn't going to get it, but I guess he figured there was still a chance.
Yeah. Now, their office at the State Department is located there in Foggy Bottom, and he told his secretary that day that he didn't feel well. He thought he was getting the flu, so he told her.
So I'm going home.
Yep.
He was just really pissed off.
Yep. And he left there and he went to his bank, and there he withdrew $400.
Yep.
And I think that's all the money they had in their account.
Yep, cleaned it out.
Yep. Which I don't know how much $400 is today. It's probably worth a few thousand.
Yeah, I don't know.
And after he left the bank, he went to the Montgomery Mall. There he went into a Sears, and he bought a sledgehammer.
It was like a small 2-pound, like a ball peen hammer, sledgehammer. So it was like a 10-inch, not like a log splitting sledgehammer, but
anyway, with a small handle.
Yeah.
And a gas can.
Still 2-pound hammer's pretty damn big. But okay.
And he bought a gas can.
Yep. And
there he left, and he filled up his gas can and the tank of his '74 Chevrolet station wagon, which was I think a gas station just right near the mall.
Right.
And after he left there, he drove down to Pox Hardware. And Dale, this is where he purchased a shovel and a pitchfork.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's going to go do some yard work or something.
Yeah, pretty much. But when he got home, it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock. This is what the police believe is the timeline on this.
Right.
And when he got home, his wife was cooking supper. Everything seemed normal even when he got home. He expected the house to be neat and orderly.
Oh yeah,
everything to be in its place.
Demanded.
Yeah, very, very demanded.
Even with 3 boys running around.
Yeah, everything had to be put into place. But at this time, the boys I think they were already getting ready for bed. They were in their pajamas, and the oldest boy, I think he went by Bradford or Brad.
Yeah.
He was 14 at the time. He was on the phone with his girlfriend.
Yeah, he was Bradford the third.
And Bradford Jr. picked up the phone, the extension, and told him to
wrap it up.
Yep, get off the phone. Yep.
Yeah, he came in and seen what was going on. Like you said, they had supper going and stuff, and the kids were getting ready for bed. So he went upstairs and put his hammer away, the stuff he had bought, and just stashed it away.
Put it in his briefcase, I think.
Yeah, well, not all the stuff, but the hammer. And he changed into his pajamas too. So then when I guess he came back down, and they probably all had supper or whatever. And then his mom always walked a dog. They had a golden retriever named Leo.
Leo, yeah.
Yeah, and she always walked the dog about the same time every night. So when his mom got her coat on and stuff and went out and took the dog out for a walk, that's when he went and got the hammer and come back down. And when he came back down, Annette was in the living room. She was reading a book, allegedly reading a book for an art. She'd been taking an art class at the college. So since his mom had been living with him and watching the boys, she was doing something for herself and trying to get a degree from the college in art.
She had extra time to do that. I think it's something she was wanting to do.
Right, because she never had to do nothing. He always just told her that he was better than her and all this, and didn't do nothing but berate her the whole time. So she was finally getting to do something for herself.
Yeah, I don't think he liked that at all.
No. So while his mom was outside, he went up, got the hammer, come back down, and she didn't even know what hit her. He come up and just smashed her skull. And then proceeded to hit her several more times, even though it was said that probably the first blow killed her, but he just kept on swinging.
Yeah.
And then he had walked out of the room, meanwhile, and then that's when he went and to check on the boys. He picked up the phone and found out he was on the phone and told her to wrap it up. And I guess he was going to go up there, but being it had taken him a little bit longer than he thought, his mom had come back in the door.
Yeah.
And when she came back in the door,
she noticed the blood.
Yeah, she knows something was wrong and run in and seen blood everywhere, and then seen him all splattered in blood, and she screamed and went and run and locked herself in the bathroom. And that's when basically it was a scene from The Shining.
Yeah.
He just busted through the door and reached his hand in and opened it. Now, there's different thoughts on this. They said, some people say he hit her once with the hammer. Some people didn't say he didn't hit her at all with the hammer. But that's not what killed her. Said she had a bruise on her forehead, so you can take it however you want to take it.
I mean, she could have hit her head on the door going in the bathroom trying to get away from her.
Or when she fell on the floor, because basically she had died basically had a heart attack, I think. He
Yeah.
said, she died from something like that, from just being in terror or something, Well, meanwhile, while all this stuff going on, Bradford had heard him smashing the bathroom door down. And
he was a 14-year-old.
Yes. So he comes in to confront his dad, and he's a pretty big kid, but not big as his dad, so that didn't go well. So he took the hammer and smashed him and killed him too.
I think Bradford Jr., he was trained in hand-to-hand combat too, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so his family wasn't no match for him at all.
No, especially with a 2-pound hammer.
Yeah, he killed his 14-year-old.
Yeah, killed him.
Then he went in the bedroom of the 2 younger boys, and I think they shared a bedroom.
Bunk beds, yes. Yeah. Yep. And he went in, and I don't know which one got it first, but he killed both of them.
With the hammer to the head.
With the hammer to the head, and
they said in the top bunk, whichever boy was in the top bunk,
yeah,
they were marks with the hammer in the ceiling, I guess, where he was drawing back.
Drawing back so far, yeah. And I believe it was Bradford Jr. did the one he had hit in the face so much that he wasn't even recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So he's basically went in and killed his wife, his mom, and all 3 of his kids.
Killed his whole family.
Yeah. With a hammer. Now, we ain't talking about, it's like, I was just thinking mindset. It's not like he shot him. It's not like a far off thing. This was up close and personal with a damn hammer, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty serious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess anything is, but damn, how did he do that?
I've heard it reported too that his mom, I hope she died of a heart attack or something like that, because it even reported that he didn't hit her,
right?
And if he done that on purpose or
I don't know,
yeah,
they don't really know actually. I mean, she had a bruise on her forehead, but they said they didn't think it was from the hammer, but we don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's definitely not what killed her.
Yeah,
so yeah, pretty sad.
Yep. But after all the killings, he went and took a shower.
Right.
And he then proceeded to load the bodies into the back of their Chevrolet station wagon.
Mm-hmm.
And he left town.
Yeah, he grabbed his go bag, which had whatever in it, I guess that's what you call them.
A bug out bag, go
Yeah,
bag.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
he worked for the State Department, and I think they all had like go bags and
Yeah.
stuff they would need if they had to get
Just
out.
a bag packed, they're always ready to go, just in case anything happens. Probably had a couple clothes. I figured some clothes in it, and probably some money, maybe a gun, because he did have a 38.
Medications, anything like
Medication, anything that you need to go and don't have time to do nothing, you just grab it and go.
Yeah.
yeah,
that. Yeah, they grabbed that and loaded the bodies in the back of the
yeah.
station wagon.
Cover him up with a blanket and grabbed the dog. He did take the dog with him.
Yeah, took Leo with him, put him
Yeah.
in the front seat.
Yeah,
And I think they even said that this was kind of a help to him, because he had to go through some tolls and stuff.
right. And there was no electronic then. It was all somebody sitting in the boot.
Yeah. So seeing the dog, this will be kind of a little help.
Deterrent from looking in the back, maybe.
Maybe so. But he drove about 275 miles in the station wagon to a densely wooded swamp. It was about 5 miles south of Columbia, North Carolina.
Which just blows my mind.
Yeah. And where on March the 2nd, he dug a shallow hole and he piled the bodies in that hole. And then he didn't really just pile them, he threw them in there.
Yeah. Yep. And I wonder if he really thought he was going to be able to dig a hole big enough for all of them. I mean, and I've heard people say, it was only about 2.5 feet deep, but that's a pretty damn big hole digging by yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of ground.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah. After you drove that damn far
Yeah.
all night long.
Yeah, that'd be rough. But then he piled the bodies in the hole and he poured the gas on them that he had in the can, and he set them on fire. It had been reported, too, that I don't know how they know this, but he had singed the hair on his hand. I don't know how they know that.
Yeah, that's what
It'd been
I was
reported,
wondering
though.
the same thing.
And it was reported, too, that he had smoked a cigarette standing there, which, me and you discussed this before.
Yeah, you might could find a cigarette butt, but how you going to know it burned his hand?
Yeah, I know. I mean,
don't
you're
know
going to find, I don't know. I don't know how they determined that, but that's what it was reported. He had singed the hair on his hand.
Right. And I've wondered, did he fill up the gas can to do this with, or did you just fill up the gas can to put in the car in case he had to get gas somewhere and he didn't want to stop?
I don't know.
Now, I know that researchers have done the math on this type of car and the gas mileage, and he was able to make the trip without having to stop, but just barely. But I wonder if he knew how far it was going, just in case he needed some gas, he bought an extra. Or if he was, bought it for this reason, because it's kind of odd that he would plan to do this,
Yeah. Now, it wasn't long after that, there was a North Carolina forest ranger had noticed heavy smoke
Yep.
billowing up in the sky. And he headed out to investigate it. And there he discovered in the scene, it was reported to the local police, and an investigation was quickly underway. He found the bodies laying there in that hole.
Right. Well, it said that, first they thought it might be in somebody burning hogs, because it said, if there was a local farmers there had diseased pig or whatever, they would, burn them like that. And so that's what they thought they were going to. By the time he got there to check it out, there was about a 3-acre fire from this.
Yeah.
This had caught the brush and stuff around it on fire. And once they got that contained, he noticed a pile of dirt, and whenever to it, and once he got to it, he could see it was more than a pile of dirt.
Yeah, it was bodies in there, clothed bodies.
Yeah.
And they still had the clothes on that they had when they were killed.
Yep.
And found with the bodies was the gas can, the pitchfork, and the shovel that Bishop had bought at Pox Hardware. And it still had part of a label on that shovel.
Yeah.
It had OCH HDW.
Right.
It was written on it. And they got to researching that, and they found out that it came from Pox Hardware.
Yeah. So basically the P had been burned off maybe off the label.
Yeah.
So
it's spelled
P-O-C-H. Yeah.
P-O-C-H, yeah. And they were able to trace it back to a local Bethesda hardware store.
Right.
And some of the victims' clothing had labels from expensive department stores there in Bethesda, Maryland, Dale.
Yep. His mom had on a jacket from Saks Fifth Avenue
Yeah.
for collared jacket.
And they sort of put this together. North Carolina police had reached out to the Bethesda police, but at the time there were no missing persons reports or anything like that.
Right.
Nothing going on.
So it's kind of weird.
They're very, very weird. And Dale, after he got this done, lighting everything on fire, I guess it was getting close to daylight, and he bugged out before, I guess, sun come up and the car could be recognized.
Yeah, I wondered, if that's what happened. He just got to, run out of time and just left there. If he thought everything was going to burn up, so he didn't take nothing with him, but nothing.
I just wonder,
Didn't make a lot of
he
sense.
set them on fire. If he just dumped the bodies out in the middle of nowhere,
and left.
yeah, they probably never been found.
No. not for years. I mean, somebody eventually might have come across him, but not just a few.
He'd have a longer getaway time.
Not while he was still on fire,
Yeah,
Right.
because they noticed fire right away.
Yeah.
As the sun was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was 3 acres almost on fire. So
that's a pretty good sized fire.
Exactly. But he left and he bugged out pretty quick.
Yep.
And the last sighting of Bishop was in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Now imagine that.
Imagine that.
It was the same day. So after he set the bodies on fire, Dale, he left and he got out quick.
Yep.
And how far was it from Columbia to Jacksonville, North Carolina?
It's about 132 miles, about 2.5 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. And it was the same day. And according to witnesses, he still had the family dog with him and possibly was accompanied by a woman described as dark skinned.
Yeah, he stopped and bought a pair of tennis shoes at a sporting goods store.
Yep. And he used his credit card. So it definitely traced back to him.
Yeah, not smart.
No, not smart at all. But yeah, I just wonder who this woman was.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of odd, isn't it?
Yeah. Because, he could have killed the family there in Bethesda and left them.
Mm-hmm.
But why did he come to North Carolina? Why?
Yeah, and why bring them with him?
Yeah. I don't understand that.
It's kind of odd.
Yeah, there was a reason he come to North Carolina.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, especially had that woman with him that was dark skinned.
Yeah, now he was known to be
yeah,
he was known to have several
lady friends.
Yeah. And I don't think nobody knew about it, but he definitely had an affair going on, right before everything happened. And then it was known from other coworkers said he had several that nobody ever knew about.
Yeah, especially him going to foreign countries and
always going. Yeah.
Yeah. But the owner of the athletic store even described the woman and said she was outside with the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Described the dog, and it was looked just like Leo,
Yeah.
Down to a T.
Right.
He thought it was an Irish setter.
Right, because Leo had more of a red tint.
But he thought they were a couple.
Yeah, and it was probably something to kind of make him look a little better. It's him and a woman and their dog. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Except for a bloody back of the car.
Yeah. Now, on March the 10th, jumping a little bit ahead, there was a neighbor of Bishop's that had contacted police after not seeing the family for a while.
Yeah, I think what happened is the lady who played tennis with Annette had went over to see what was going on because she hadn't heard from her in a while.
Yeah.
And said she went and the back door was open. And so she opened the door, went in. She saw some food in a pot there or whatever. So she just shut the door or whatever. But it was kind of weird. And her son had told her that he had went over there and saw some blood on some dried blood on the front porch, or he thought it was. So she called the cops and had them come do a welfare check.
Yeah. And when they went over there, that's when they found a gruesome scene.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this lady locked the door when she left, but I also heard that they got a key from a local babysitter that had it. So I don't know which one was true, if the door still was open, or if they got a key from her, or if they got a key from... Anyway, they got access into the house some way or another.
But you know what? I bet somebody listening to this that lives 10 miles away will probably let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, it will.
Well, see, you got that wrong.
Yeah, they will let us know.
But anyway, that's when the detectives come over, and he was nearby there, and he didn't think it was going to be nothing of it. Come over because it was just a welfare check, and that's when he opened the door and went in, and pretty soon he realized this was not going to be just a welfare check. It was blood and carnage all over, and it was pretty bad when they got into checking around, and it was pretty bad, splatter on all the walls, and the place said that even Bradford must have had so much gore and stuff on him when he went and took a shower that there were bone fragments and stuff in the shower when he went and took a shower. So he was really busting some skulls.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that's awful.
Now get this, Dale. On March the 18th, Bishop's station wagon was found abandoned at an isolated campground in Elkmont, Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Yep. So he left Columbia, North Carolina, went to Jacksonville, and then went into Tennessee, into Elkmont. And Elkmont is at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and it's a few miles just from the Appalachian Trail. And the car contained, when they got into it, the car contained dog biscuits, a bloody blanket, a shotgun, an axe, and a shaving kit, and Bishop's medication. Yeah, we're going to talk about. And the trunk's spare tire well was full of blood.
Yeah, it was all draining there the whole time.
Just draining down in there.
Mm-hmm.
Man. And the witness believed that the car had been there since anywhere between March 5th to March 7th. Mm. So Bishop had a big head start.
Yeah, I think he pulled it up to like an abandoned cabin that actually had been boarded up, but he just left it parked in front of it and said it wasn't very unusual to see cars parked there for several days during this time. Mm-hmm. People coming and staying there.
And the police had even thought that Bishop may have joined a flow of hikers on the Appalachian Trail,
right,
and attempted to follow his scent with bloodhounds, but didn't find anything.
Yeah, I think they started the bloodhound out and they went up and went around a little bit, and then kind of circled back down and basically come back to where they were and then stopped. So basically like he got in a car or something with somebody else and left, but you never know really.
Yep. And it was just the following day after they found the car, there was a grand jury indicted Bishop on 5 counts of first-degree murder and several other charges.
Right. So I'm sure, I guess they couldn't prove that he did it, but everything looked like he did it. Especially they knew the stuff he had bought and they knew what happened, and they found the carnage in the house and then him gone and finding a car. So it's not like he could say that somebody else did it and took him off, but don't really know because we can't find him.
Now we're going to get into a little bit of some of his motives and different things like that, but it was reported in a 1977 Washington Post article that there was no evidence of infidelity or financial or job problems, but
I believe there was.
Yeah, it had been reported later that there was a lot of stuff like that going on because, I think
this is 77, so they hadn't really had much time to dig into it here.
Yeah, and Bishop's mother, I think, was even running out of her money that her dead husband had left her.
Right.
Yep. So I think money was getting tight for him.
Trying to keep up a lifestyle. Yeah.
Yep. It was getting tough for him. And it had been reported that Bishop's career had caused some marital tension, and he was unhappy at his desk job and interested in another foreign posting. But his wife, like we talked about, I don't think she wanted to move across.
No, she didn't. She was happy. She really liked his mom staying with her because they were pretty tight, and made everything much easier. She helped with the boys and the cooking and all that stuff. So she really liked to just kind of stay at home thing, and that's what she wanted to do.
Yep, get her degree and just have that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most sources agree that the Bishops were experiencing some financial issues, like we said, but there was a disagreement as to the severity. But the Post reported in 1986 that the issues were mild and familiar to most upwardly mobile families. But John Douglas, everybody knows John Douglas, he's the big FBI profiler. He described them as nothing terribly unusual for people in their 30s living in that kind of neighborhood.
Yeah, everybody's trying to keep up with everybody else.
And in 2013, Bethesda magazine reported that the IRS had been auditing the family's taxes for a while. So they've been having some financial troubles. And the existence of an audit has not been confirmed by the IRS or anything like that, but it had been reported that it was.
Why in the heck would they come out in 2013 and say they've been looking at them and everybody's been dead since 76?
Exactly. Taking their own time digging up this case, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Now, just a little bit of profile on Bradford Bishop. The FBI states that he was, like we talked about, was an avid outdoorsman. Mm-hmm. He enjoyed camping, hiking, and reports that he even had a pilot's license.
Yeah.
From when he was in Africa.
Yeah, so he could go around from place to place. Yep. He flew a small plane.
Yep. So he enjoyed working out, riding motorcycles. He's very active.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, Dale. Bradford Bishop has a history of depression and insomnia.
Yeah.
And having been afflicted with both conditions, he was taking Cerax.
Yeah, and he'd been taking it for years.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it had some kind of effect on him.
Yep. And it had been reported that he'd been seeing a psychiatrist.
Yeah, and that was kind of odd to me, too. Well, not odd, but him working where he was, he was seeing a psychiatrist sometimes. Well, it was up to 2 times a week for over 5 years. And keeping that kind of
down low,
on the down low, because he would have been let go from his job.
They didn't like that. They didn't want that.
They didn't want that, and he wouldn't have had any more, foreign clearance and security clearance and all that stuff would have been revoked. Yeah.
Yep. But he was taking his antidepressant medication.
Mm-hmm.
But they said he loved dogs, and he also enjoyed his Scotch whiskey. Yeah, down with them round.
No.
But it had been reported that Bishop has a 6-inch vertical scar on his lower back from a surgery. He has a cleft chin, a facial mole on his left cheek, and he also may have his father's Smith & Wesson .38 Special. I think this was a inheritance from his father.
Yeah. They never found that.
And he was also very fond of his Yale class ring.
Yeah. Well,
And never found that either.
No. They did find a shotgun and some other stuff in the car, but
Yep.
they didn't find his pistol.
Yep. And Bradford Bishop had a diplomatic passport. Now, Dale, when he worked at the State Department, he had access to blank passports.
Yeah, and the special ink.
Yeah.
So technically, he could have made his own. He could have made several
Passports, yeah.
Just depending on because we don't really know how long he had been planning this or not planning this. We don't know if it was like that day he snapped, went and bought his stuff, went home, killed everybody, or if he'd been thinking about this since he didn't know he's going to get that promotion or what.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard, to say if you don't really know. Well, I don't know what you're going to say. No, not really. If you don't really know, but we don't know when he snapped. So if he wasn't already thinking ahead, why would he have the passports? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, I think him snapping was him not getting that job.
Yes.
And then...
but he wouldn't went and made some passports and then went on.
No.
So he would have had to done that before time.
Yeah, and I think the situation at home with his mom and his wife, running a household, his mom having the purse strings, having the money, keeping up the lifestyle, and him not being able to do that for that family.
Right.
I think that really hit him hard.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this was weighing on him for a while.
Right. But I don't know if he would have had the forethought to make fake passports. He had his diplomatic one, and it was never found. Everybody else's was found at the house, but not his. So I'm sure he had it with him and probably had it in his bag.
Yeah.
So I don't know that, even though he had access to, I don't know if he would have had the forethought to make some fake ones, or if he would have had the time.
Yeah.
Though it is possible.
He could have planned this out for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it had been reported that he'd been in contact with somebody in prison, and he had been wanting to hire somebody to kill his family.
Yeah. That was something I'd heard too, yeah.
And I think
supposedly it was supposed to happen when he was going to Geneva.
Yeah, and he'd hired somebody to come and do gutter work for him.
Right, it was coming fake gutter guys.
Yeah, it was going to kill the family.
Yeah, and something about when he was going to Geneva, so it was supposed to happen while he was gone and make it look like a robbery gone bad. So when he got back from Geneva, thought somebody from the State Department was going to meet him at the airport and give him the bad news, and so he got off the plane, walked up, and there was nobody, and went home and walked in. Hey, and everybody's there.
Family, yeah.
And the family goes, he's like,
he knew it didn't happen.
And yeah, she goes, your gutter guys never showed up. So yeah, so you're right. Maybe he's been planning this for a while, so he could have already had something ready to get the hell out anyway, even if he didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I guess he got back, figured he had to do it himself.
Exactly.
So it's possible.
Yep, but Bradford Bishop had approximately 1 week of advance time before the police and authorities began looking for him, Dale.
Yeah.
And it had been suggested that he could have traveled on his diplomatic passport like we talked about.
Mm-hmm. He'd be anywhere in the world.
Yep. And there was a special agent for the FBI. His name was Steve Vogt. He stated in 2014 that neither Bishop's wallet nor passport had ever been found. Mm-hmm. And it had also been speculated that Bishop may have had intelligence training in the 1960s, which may have helped him evade detection in 1976.
Well, I'm sure with all this training and stuff he's doing,
yeah,
diplomatic and
Army training,
spying,
yeah,
and all that mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of specialized training.
All right, now, since 1976, Bishop has allegedly been cited a number of times in various European countries, including Italy, Belgium, England, Finland, the Netherlands, Germany, Greece, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland.
Lawndale.
Yeah. Yeah. Cleveland County. Kaiser.
Yeah.
But there are 3 credible sightings that we're going to talk about that are noted by the United States Marshal Service. And the first one was in July of 1978. And a Swedish woman who said she had collaborated with Bishop while they were working in Ethiopia. She reported she had spied him twice in a public park in Stockholm during the span of 1 week. And she stated that she was absolutely certain that the man was Bishop. She didn't contact the police at the time because she had not realized that he was wanted for murder in the United States.
Right.
So until after that, I guess time had passed, and if that was him, he probably wasn't there anymore.
Right.
Yep. And then in January of 1979, Bishop was reported seen by a former U.S. State Department colleague. And this was in a restroom in Sorrento, Italy. And when the colleague greeted Bishop, who he thought was Bishop, he said he'd been aging and had a little bit more gray hair, but he looked him eye to eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he even asked him, he said, "Hey, you're Brad Bishop, aren't you?" And the man responded he said a distinctly American accent. He said, "Oh no," and fled.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. But, I mean, he worked with him, so, who knows?
Yeah, it could be.
But these are the three credible instances.
The most credible that they got listed anyway.
Now, on September the 19th of 1994, on a Basel train platform, a neighbor who had known the Bishops in Bethesda was on vacation and reported that she had seen Bradford Bishop just from a few feet away. I think they were on a train and he was on another train that were side by side. And they spotted each other through a window, and he even looked over at him, and she even said that he started laughing. Yeah. But she described him as well groomed and said that he was getting into the passenger car.
Well, could have been, I guess. I don't know, though. 1994?
Yep, could have been. In 2010, the authorities believe that Bishop was living in Switzerland or Italy or elsewhere in Europe or possibly California. And he may have worked as a teacher or become involved in criminal activities. So, he was fluent in 5 languages. So if he was overseas, he could be teaching a language. He could be teaching English.
You could do whatever, yeah.
Yeah. He could just blend right in. And authorities revealed in 2010 just that before the murders, Bishop had been, like we talked about, corresponding with a federal prison inmate named Albert Kenneth Bankston. And he was in the United States Penitentiary in Marion, but they don't know why or how or why he was doing this.
Right. I think they found some letters from Bankston back in 76, but it was also known that Bankston was known to write several and people up in Washington and stuff, saying he can do this or he knew this stuff, trying to get his sentence lowered.
Yeah, just to get some free time.
Yeah, so, a lot of stuff he did, they didn't really look into hard.
Yep. But Bishop had evidently instructed Bankston to send letters to the State Department office address. And the America's Most Wanted TV show posted the last letter on its website, which Bankston mailed 16 days after the murder without knowing that that happened or that Bishop was a fugitive on the run.
Right. So that's kind of odd. So even if he was in on maybe that failed attempt or whatever, he didn't know what was going on.
Yep.
So maybe it was just bullshit anyway, but we don't know.
But Bankston died in 1983.
So we'll never know.
Before the law enforcement discovered his connection to Bishop, which was in 93.
10 years later.
Yeah. So they'll never know.
They was really on that one.
Yep. Now in 2014, this hadn't been long ago, the body of an unidentified man resembling Bradford Bishop had been killed by a car while walking along an Alabama highway in 1981. And the body was exhumed by the FBI.
Yeah, it said that the photos look really, really similar.
And we got a picture of that man that was hit by the car. We can post it online. We can post it on our social medias. But a DNA test indicated the man was not Bishop.
Right.
But I've seen it, and he looked a lot like him. Yep. And in 2011, the FBI used fingerprints to determine that reports Bishop had died in Hong Kong or France, but these
are also false.
Yeah, they just false. Yep.
This is kind of like them other cases, where you got 500 people calling in all these sightings and seeing and stuff. None of it's true.
Yep. And in 2014, at the request of the FBI, forensic artist Karen Taylor, she created an age progression sculpture to suggest what Bishop might look like at around age 77. And using Taylor's sculpture, several alternative images were created by Lisa Shepard to show, in addition to the facial hair and glasses.
Yeah, that's pretty wild looking.
Yeah, we got some pictures of that too we're going to post.
Right.
All right, Dale, we're going to move just a little bit forward. We're going to move to this year.
Yep, crazy.
Yep. In 2021, just this year, Kathy Gilchrist, who was adopted, claims she found through a DNA testing service, 23andMe, she discovered that Bradford Bishop was her biological father.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And where's she live?
She lives in North Carolina.
Look at there.
Yep. She lives in Carolina Shores, North Carolina.
Crazy.
And just a little bit more on this, just this week,
Yeah.
September 27th, 2021, the FBI confirms,
3 days ago, matter of fact.
yeah, Kathy Gilchrist is accused killer William Bradford Bishop's daughter.
I guess she was lucky she was adopted.
Yeah.
I bet she wasn't expecting this when she went to her 23andMe results and looked up who he was.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. I've even read an interview with her. She said she didn't know by spitting in a tube she'd get all this information.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he had some relations when he was at Yale. So this was a relationship he had with a woman before he was married to Annette. But the mother, I think she had just recently passed away, her biological mother. But yeah, Bradford Bishop's biological daughter is living here in North Carolina.
Pretty neat.
Very, very crazy.
Yeah.
So it gives another North Carolina twist on this.
Yes, too.
All right, what are your thoughts on Bradford Bishop? Do you think he's still alive out there?
No.
He'd be 83 years old today.
No, I don't think he is.
You don't think he is? One time he was on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so they dropped him on that and had a flood of phone calls and stuff, but you know how that is. But
Yeah, actually, he was added to the 10 Most Wanted list in April of 2014. I mean, he'd been...
why in the hell wait that long?
Yeah, why wait that long?
You know, you'd think if he would have done it back when they were looking for him,
In the 70s.
They probably would have found him.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but a whole lot better chance.
I just heard that maybe they'd found some solid information
Right.
in 2014.
Yeah, I don't know about this. You don't never know what happened. Did he get out of the car in Tennessee and walk up there and shoot himself with that 38 they never found? Or did he get in the car with this unknown woman? Did she pick him up in another car? Or was it somebody else and they flew off somewhere? Did he make her a passport? You know, he could have done that for whoever he was. I mean, there had to be some reason he came to North Carolina. He just didn't drive to 4 hours overnight to bury bodies in the damn,
Yeah.
There had to be a reason.
And drive to Jacksonville to buy a pair of tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Unless that woman was down around that area.
That's what I'm thinking.
She had to be from that area.
And and then they dropped the car off in Tennessee, which is another 7 hours away from where they were. So that's kind of what I think. He came down here and met somebody, had something going on, and then of course everybody's going to ask what happened to the dog.
Yeah.
So they said that they found the dog. There's different stories, but the one we're going with is that somebody found the dog just wandering around where they left the car. And somebody took him in and
Give him a good home.
Yeah. So.
But just a little side note: when the car was found in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, it was found by Dwight McCarter. So Dwight McCarter was the park ranger that assisted in looking for Dennis Martin when he disappeared, which was one of our episodes.
Yeah.
So a little tie in there.
That's pretty neat.
Yep.
Yeah. Go back and check out episode out too. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing when we do these episodes and
how much intertwining.
Yeah, things tie into other episodes. That just blows my mind.
It's really cool.
Yep.
That's why I like doing this North Carolina stuff.
Yep.
There's a lot of people dig when we do local stuff. So.
Well, this does have a North Carolina.
A couple ties.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's neat.
Especially this North Carolina chick. It's his daughter now living here.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Very, very cool. All right, Dale. That is the Bishop family murders.
Yep. Nobody knows where he is and whatever happened to him. He could be on the run yet, or he could be dead. Who knows?
Yep. He could be with Brian Laundrie.
The dog gonna get him.
Yep. All right, Dale. We're gonna get out of here.
Alrighty.
We want everyone to be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is
the Crack House Chronicles.